as a professor who's been watching this for, I don't know, your entire life, the law enforcement agencies like the DOJ and the FBI, what is this on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of shock value?
Oh, I think it's a 12. I think it's a 12. I have never seen in my 60 years a search warrant used in a situation like this. In the first place, the crime that apparently has been alleged is generally punished by an administrative fine, not by criminal prosecution. That was the case, of course, with Sandy Berger, Hillary Clinton, comparable offenses regarding classification, no searches of their houses. And so, look, there may be more than meets the eye. I liked Merrick Garland. I supported him when he was nominated to the Supreme Court. I remember him as a student at Harvard Law School. It's very hard for me to believe that on the basis of what we hear in the media, he would authorize such an extreme measure instead of saying subpoena them, subpoena the 15 boxes, subpoena the safe. Let judges go through each document and determine whether or not they had ever been classified, whether they've been declassified, whether there's lawyer-client privilege, whether there's executive privilege. That's the way it's done. You don't use a search warrant unless you have firm evidence that there would be destruction of the evidence. And Donald Trump wasn't even there. He was 1,000 miles away. They could have subpoenaed it to be produced in court before Trump ever got back. And yet, and of course, if Trump or anybody in his behalf destroyed evidence that was subpoenaed, that would be a much more serious crime than anything that has apparently been investigating. I do not understand this. And the burden is now on Garland and on the head of the FBI to come forward, not give a statement, but give a complete explanation and subject themselves to very, very tough questioning by a journalist like you.
Okay, I'm coming back to that in 1 second because Mike Pence just weighed in and said something similar. I'll come back to that point about a full accounting by them. But the notion that this is about classified documents, Harmeet, seems like complete and utter BS to me. I think that's a lie. I think this is about January 6th. I don't think they give two damns about classified information or the destruction of classified information. Certainly didn't under Hillary Clinton when she did it. I think this is all a pretext to try to get him on the Democrats' golden cow, which is somehow saddling January 6th around the former president's neck.
Well, absolutely correct. And I agree with everything that the professor just said about this. And having just gone through this, and we're going through this with Project Veritas, I could never have believed, as an American lawyer with almost 30 years of experience, most of it doing First Amendment litigation, that I would see the United States Department of Justice executing search warrants on journalists in the United States without going through all of the proper checks and balances, concealing information from magistrate judges, not flagging the fact that they're journalists, and ignoring multiple federal laws to do so. But the reality is, even as much as I agree that there should be an accounting here, that it isn't likely to happen very easily because the DOJ holds all the cards. They don't unseal these search warrants. They vigorously oppose that. And it's really up to the accused in our system. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be this way, but the reality is it's up to the accused. So I'm concerned that it's going to be an absolute mess to try to get accountability here. But to the political question, I think that this was very poorly thought through and kind of a knee-jerk reaction. I think this is purely political. I don't think this is about documents. I think that the Democratic Party in the United States feels like it needs Trump as a boogeyman, and the focus of the American populace going into these November elections has been on our terrible economy, on the weakness of this country, on the open borders, and on all of these issues. And they have to struggle mightily hard to turn the topic back to President Trump, who hasn't been in the White House for 2 years now. And this is one of their ways of doing it. But if their goal was to somehow hurt Republicans in the midterms, I think it is backfiring. And I think that politically it was a big blunder. But back to the legal issue, as an American, I wouldn't have wanted to see this happen by a Republican president. And indeed, President Trump, while he talked a lot and there was a lot of lock her up chants, he didn't go after his political opponents. Yeah. And I don't want to see that in America. That's what happens in Pakistan. You lose an election, they blow up your plane, they assassinate you. I don't want to see that kind of behavior here in the United States. And I'm afraid that we're going down a very dangerous path here with this.
It's one of the reasons Putin can't let himself lose power. Go ahead, Professor.
Where are Trump's lawyers? They should have been in court yesterday at 11 a.m. They should have been in court this morning at 9 a.m. Maybe they have been, and I don't know about it. But where are Trump's lawyers? Where is the American Civil Liberties Union? Where are Democratic civil libertarians? I'll tell you where the Democratic civil libertarians are. People like Professor Lawrence Tribe has been urging Merrick Garland to indict President Trump for the attempted murder of Vice President Pence. He's prepared to trash the Constitution in order to get Trump. That's where the extremists on the Democrat side are. But Republicans and lawyers for Trump have to be more aggressive. They have to go to court. They have to challenge this, not today, but yesterday.
But what could they do, Alan? What would be the basis for the claim?
You go to court and you say, first, we want to see the search warrant. Second, we want to see the affidavit. Third, we want to see Justice Department rules and regulations about when you go after former presidents. Then we want to look at everything seized and see whether or not any of them are privileged, any of them are not classified, and put the other side on the defensive. Right now, all the Justice Department is going to say is, well, we never comment on ongoing investigations. Well, let the court appoint a master, an objective, neutral master, a former Supreme Court justice. There are two of them now available, one a Republican, one a Democrat. Let a real congressional committee, not the fake one that was established to look into January 6th, investigate this. We, the American public, have a right to know, because today it's Trump, tomorrow it's you, Megyn, and the next day it's the rest of us that they can come after. If this precedent is established, it is so dangerous to any Americans. And this is not the first instance. What happened to Manafort, what happened to these Stone, what happened to other people.
Navarro.
Navarro, they don't get shackled. They don't get handcuffed. Normally, I've done this for 60 years. I get a phone call saying, oh, by the way, your client has been indicted. Can you bring him to court tomorrow morning? And I say, tomorrow is a little inconvenient to me. Can I bring him Wednesday? Oh, sure. Bring him Wednesday or Thursday. That's the way it works.
Yeah. If I can weigh in on this, we have this exact playbook in the Project Veritas cases. We did all of the steps that the professor just mentioned. We went into court and remind
people what that's about, because not everybody's been following this closely.
So Project Veritas came into the possession, because they're journalists, of Ashley Biden's purported diary, and they started investigating whether it was true. They made some phone calls. They called Ashley Biden's lawyer eventually, who is well connected in the Southern District, and Ashley Biden's lawyer didn't want to, play ball, didn't want to confirm that it was hers or not. Instead, she dropped a dime to the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, which treated these journalists in violation of the United States Constitution, in violation of the Privacy Protection Act, in violation of common law, and in violation of Department of Justice guidelines of how you handle journalists, and went on these shock and awe raids on 3 American journalists, handcuffing them, bringing them out into the hallway in their underpants, and all on the pretext, just like in this case, that evidence was about to be destroyed, which is a complete lie. We all know President Trump was playing golf at Bedminster, 1,000 miles away, as Professor Dershowitz just said. There was no risk of destruction. This is 2 years after the man left office. It is a complete farce. So we went into court immediately and sought the unsealing of the search warrants, sought the underlying affidavits to be disclosed, got journalist organizations, including the ACLU Reporters Committee and so forth, to come in on our behalf and ask for the same thing and ask for accountability. And so eventually, a special master did get appointed in this case, the Project Veritas case, and that's exactly what needs to happen right now. And if Merrick Garland were thinking clearly about not just his job, but the institution of the United States Department of Justice and his Attorney General's office, he would have been transparent from the beginning and set all of this up so that he could foreclose allegations of misconduct and weaponization and politicization of his body. He hasn't done that. And that shows me that we really dodged a bullet in having him on the Supreme Court, because the judgment shown here is lacking. It is lacking, and it is nihilistic to the respect of the office.
If you're like me, you're getting more and more concerned about the future. The market's all over the place. Inflation is at its highest level in 40 years. Interest rates are skyrocketing. Market experts not only predict a recession, but are using terms like economic hurricane and unprecedented. If you want to protect your future, call a precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. All it takes to get started is a simple, short phone call, and they will have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or inside your IRA or 401k. And they keep it simple. They are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. And as an exclusive offer for my fans, if you call them right now, they're going to give you up to $1,500 of free silver and a free safe on qualifying orders. President Trump should call. I hear he's in need of a new one. Don't wait. Call now. Call 866-518-2955. That's 866-518-2955 or text Megyn, my name, Megyn, to 65532. Again, call 866-518-2955 or text Megyn to 65532. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.